Welcome to the Farmers Podcast, Episode 7. Today's January 20th, Inauguration Day for Donald Trump and all his support, the mega supporters. I want to welcome you guys back to the channel, and hopefully you guys have been watching the episodes, and you know, if you guys have any comments or suggestions you guys want to put on there for us to read and take into consideration when we're making a new episode, please go for it and drop them. Just want to start off with, obviously, from the channel, you guys know we're from California. LA has been devastated with natural disasters, wildfire and stuff. And for the most part, obviously, you know, during a wildfire, containment is top priority, and there's a lot of collateral damage that happens. So I understand. You know, we've had wildfires here in Kalinga, the mineral fire, you know, in the Sierra Nevadas with Shaver Lake and Mammoth, and I understand that, but you know, it makes a big difference when there's accountability and there's actually people that are managing the situation correctly, and the resources, the budgeting. You know, a lot of people don't, in California, you know, obviously it's a very democratic state, don't like ranchers, they don't like cattle grazers, they don't like any of that stuff. They don't like livestock. They think it's contributing to the climate change, and because that's what the media's put out there for you, and you guys have fallen to that trick. But, you know, it's one thing I've asked a few people now that I've talked to, you know, Gavin and the LA people, and they're telling you that the $21 million budget cuts to the fire department is not the issue, that no matter how much money you throw at the wildfire or at the fire budget, you can't prevent wildfires, and it wouldn't have made no difference. So, you know, I've asked this question. Maybe you can ask your people that you sit around lunch or dinner at home or your coworkers. If money is not the issue, you know, if money can't stop the wildfires, then what would Congress do? What would be the purpose of Congress passing a new tax bill? Actually, it's dead now. You know, Trump signed an executive order to tax Americans to combat climate change. If money's not the answer to wildfires, why would money be the answer to climate change? You can ask, you know, anybody. Ask them. If that's true, money's not going to make a difference, and why do we need to tax the citizens for something that's not going to make a difference? And I guarantee you most people are not going to have an answer for you. But that's fine. You know what I mean? To each their own. You can contribute however you want. If you want to drive a EV, more power to you. I don't know if you guys were watching the inauguration today and saw most of the speeches that I think he did about 4 that I've counted, and some of the executive orders that he's put forth. And, you know, they are what they are. Obviously, if you're not Republican, you're not going to agree with them for the most part. But I think for the border safety and for the inflation, he knows what he's talking about. He's a businessman. So, anyways, I got sidetracked. So yeah, I think it is time for Gavin in California to be held accountable for mismanagement of the state. You know, between the $24 billion in to combat homelessness that we're not going to audit because he chose not to audit because nobody knows where the money went, to all these DEI hires for mayors and stuff like that. It's a shame because I've always said this is the best state to be in, California. If you're to be Californian, is not like any other state. We pay a lot in taxes. You got to be proud to be Californian. You're in a state that's heavily taxed. Next to New York. So to stay here and raise a family here and be here for generations, it's a testament. So, it's not that I'm ashamed to say anything here in California. I love this state, but, for too long, Democrats have ran this state, and look at the shape it is. They won't admit. That's the thing is they're cowards. You know what I mean? They won't admit that they're wrong and they've made a mess of the state, and it's hard. Pride is a very hard thing to overcome and admit when you're wrong. I know it firsthand as a man. Pride's gotten me into situations that I could have avoided if I had just swallowed it and just said, fuck it, I fucked up. But it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. So I get it. But that's on the downer side. On the positive side, this is a very special day, not just for Donald Trump, but, Martin Luther King Jr. too, and the dream that he had. And hopefully, with prosperity and unity, we can move forward as a nation, put these last 4 years of whatever you want to call this behind this experiment of wokeism, liberalism, socialism. Obviously, it didn't take off like they were thinking. And thank God. Because imagine if we would have had Harris for another 4 years. It would have been a disaster economically and for patriots here. I understand, I've been seeing the news about people worried, about the farm workers. Obviously, California, we have a lot of farm workers being deported, people scared, staying at home, not coming out for fear of being detained and deported back to not just Mexico, but any of the countries you came from. And I believe in migration. Obviously, my parents came here legally. I've said it before in the podcast, episodes. They did all the paperwork. They're permanent residents of the United States. So, it's not that I don't believe in illegal immigration, but the border left us, this last 4 years, open border kind of crippled our economy to a level that should have never happened. Just recklessness from politicians that have political views and not the well interest of the citizens. We're the best nation in the world. Everybody wants to be here. We're the strongest. We have the best of everything. So, it doesn't look good when you're looking at other countries that are striding. To be like us, and then you do dumb shit. So, with that, obviously there's some of the things that Trump has was saying during his speech. If you listen to it, the Gulf of America, the taking over the Panama Canal, making it, take the United States taking it back, or making Canada one of the states, and territory of Greenland. Very ambitious things that, it's just for show. It's just, making a statement to the world that we're back. So, I personally wouldn't want Canada to be part of us, because that would be two senator seats for a very liberal state. So I'm sorry, Canada. I would have to vote no. Greenland, that's a whole different other subject. But for military, purposes. But yeah, it's the beginning of of a golden era for the United States and the power, peaceful transition, the transfer of powers, everything good. I will say that it was mighty sneaky of Joe Biden to pardon some of his family members right in the middle of the inauguration, and it just shows you that he has no lack, the lack of respect for his people, for his voters, and I wasn't expecting anything different, so it's fine. I know, for right now, for obviously, if you're a Democrat, you're feeling it. Your world's been tossed up. You guys lost the Senate, the House, the White House, the Supreme Court, and it's probably not going to be a good 4 years for you guys. Because now there's only two genders again. And the border will be closed. They made it a executive order that it's a state of emergency for the nation. The border, what else? Energy. We're in a state of emergency for energy. They're gonna start drilling. So, that's good for it's good for not just California. It's good for the nation. And I know it's gonna be a hard adjustment for Democrats to start being more independent off the government. The outreach of government has been super crazy. And I know, I was Democrat at one point, and my family, some of my family are Democrats still to this day. And, I understand they feel that the government's going to protect them, that's the reason why, that they've for the longest time, Democrats have portrayed themselves as the saviors of immigrants, of our Latin community for us, the Hispanic community, that they're going to protect us from the big bad Republicans. And we're in a sanctuary state. People are still getting deported. Gavin Newsom said he wasn't going to let that happen, and so he hasn't made any statements that I know. If people are getting deported, how come he hasn't stopped ICE from deporting people in California? Maybe you guys should ask him. But, we're not here for a downer either. We're here to celebrate and bring forth the new administration. I'm looking forward to seeing, how the new law orders or the executive orders will be implemented, and then I believe he said the external revenue service agency, whatever, for tariffs and stuff for other countries, and I get it. People say, well, if they tax tariffs to other countries, they're just going to tax it back onto the consumer. So yeah, if you're buying stuff from China, India, the UK, Africa, whatever, Australia, Brazil, Central America, it is going to be heavily taxed. But the purpose of that is to bring back those companies that left the United States to invest back into our country, to open jobs here. At first, yeah, we are going to be paying more. But the companies are going to be taking a lot of that tax. And it's going to encourage Americans to stop buying and relying on countries from all over the world. We need to invest our money back into this country. We need our money to stay here. We need to buy stuff here in the United States, buy American made. So if you don't agree with that, it's fine. I don't care. We buy local beef. We try to buy local produce. So you can do whatever you want. If your money can go further that way with the tariffs, then do that. But not for me, not for my family. So, it is what it is. And like I said, I always like welcoming our guests. So I think I'm going to have one of my buddies come in. I won't say his name now because we haven't for sure picked a date. But he'll be coming in. He'll be one of my guests on one of our episodes, and we're going to discuss. He's if I give it away, I'm not gonna give it away. But he's a very conservative person too, as well. And he comes from a different background, ethnicity, but local from right here from the valley too. So be looking forward to that. I just wanted to do this episode just to kind of refresh and come back. And the last one I think I did was post-election. So I've been wanting to do more context, but we've been farming. And by the way, the rain hasn't been looking good for farmers, for wheat farmers, for dry farming. So hope, fingers crossed, in California we get some rain this year. It's gonna have a big negative impact, for not just wheat, but for the cattle industry as well, the hay prices and stuff like that. And beef is expensive in the market right now to buy, and then obviously you guys are aware about the bird flu and the price of eggs. I think we try not to, we have our own chickens, but if we do have to buy eggs, I think it's like $9 a dozen at your local grocery. So that is crazy prices to be paying for a dozen eggs. So, I just, I'm hopeful, you know what I mean? I get it. Trump's not a popular guy. People don't like his personality. That's fine. But I think now we're at a different time where people are a little bit more thick-skinned. And they're not just going to ball up and cry just because you don't have the same opinion or you don't share the same gender. So I just wanted to do this quick episode just to refresh you guys, to keep telling you guys to subscribe, and follow up. California needs a big change, management wise, for the state. It's not working out, and I think little by little Californians are starting to realize that the woke ideas and the wokeness or the liberal ideas sound good. When you're thinking and you're saying it sounds like a good idea. But when you're actually putting them into play, like California's been liberal for a long time, it doesn't go with hard work. You know what I mean? Like, everybody wants to be equal. You are born equal, free to pursue whatever you want. But you're not born to just have whatever you want just because you're born. You have to work for everything. You know what I mean? Handouts are not helping anybody. We're not getting any better. You're not going to improve your life, your condition of living, your status. It's not going to help you. The government can't fix that. If you want to be somebody, you have to make somebody out of yourself. And that's a hard thing for people to understand. And I get it. Sometimes you see it and you're like, oh man, I wish I would have been born rich too. Who wouldn't say that? That's not happen. That doesn't happen for everybody. So you got to work hard and you got to hustle hard. And that one's a hard one for people to swallow too. And you know what I mean? Not everybody's going to like you. I get told all the time, they don't like my voice. They don't want to watch my podcast. Yeah, people ask me all the time, how come you do a podcast? I don't think it's that great. And I tell them, well, because I can. Tell them you could do whatever you want. If you want to make one that says just to tell people that a podcast sucks, go ahead. It ain't gonna hurt me. I do it because I can, and I have the area to do it, and I have the free time here and there to drop an episode. But it is what it is. I just obviously, I'm conservative. People ask me sometimes here and there, why we vote for Trump or to be Republican, and that one's easy for me. You know what I mean? I don't expect any handouts from anybody. I don't need anything. You know what I mean? I don't have much, but I'm living okay. So I think that's something that's not very common anymore with people. You look at your neighbors, and if your neighbors buy a new car, you're like, I need to buy a new car. And I don't have that. Like, if I see somebody buying new stuff and doing good, I'm actually happy for them. I hope they're doing good. And stuff like that don't interest me. And it's hard, for a lot of people, because I understand, everybody feels like you need to keep up with other people. Like, hey, the Johnsons next door or across the street are doing this, So, wow, they bought new rigs. And they bought a new house. So I have to go do the same thing, or else it looks like I'm not doing as good as them. There was I think he was a businessman. He was on one of the podcasts or one of the TikToks and stuff, and he made a comment that kind of stuck to me a little bit, and I thought about it. He said, "Do you know how you can tell if people are going to stay middle class their whole life?" And the person that was there, whatever, I forgot who it was, he was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You can tell if people are going to stay middle class their whole life by looking at their driveway. If they have 2 brand new cars in their driveway, they're going to stay middle class." And I was just like, what the fuck? I mean, like, what? That makes sense. You know what I mean? Because you're always constantly trying to keep up with everybody, instead of just sitting back, reflecting on yourself and being, hey, you know what? If I downgrade 1 year, and, I always tell people about a 5-year plan. That's always my best advice to people. Come up with a 5-year plan. It'll change your life. It doesn't have to be like you're going to be super rich. Just some goal you want to accomplish. Do a 5-year plan. Put it down on paper. Put the steps down. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and then 5. And then what's a priority? What do you need to do first? Then what do you need to do to accomplish that in the first year? And then you'll see by the 3rd or 4th year that it wasn't as hard as you thought it would be. It's going to be hard, but it's doable. You have to pick a realistic goal. It can't be like, I'm going to go to the moon, which I've always said we didn't. Elon Musk and Doge and SpaceX says they're going to Mars. He said, I have my different theories on the firmament and stuff like that, so that's just me. But it's time for a change. Californian or American citizen, this is a time. There's going to be a lot of changes in this country, and people are going to move up or move down. And it's surprising that they were able to, and I'm talking about the last administration, race bait us as hard as they did. They really turned people against each other. And you did hate your neighbor based on what they voted for and their political party. I don't have no animosity towards any Democrats or even other super hardcore nationalists, MAGA. You're entitled to your opinion. That's the whole point of living in a free country. Your freedom of speech and your rights to support whoever you want and donate to whoever you want. The only thing that I will say that really chapped me hard was there was reports that Gavin Newsom and them, their party or whatever you want to call their council or whatever, they're putting links to help donate to the wildfire victims or support, but it was sending you straight to the Democratic campaign funding. I mean, that has to be borderline illegal in my point of view. You're clicking on there trying to help and support poor people, as not all of them were poor, but poor as in situational. And for him to take advantage of that it's a all-time low. I know some of the videos, I don't know if they're edited or not, where he said that he talked to the people from Maui, the same companies that when they had their fire, and they're talking about rebuilding the new LA and basically buying out people from their property and making it seem like it's a good idea because they've lost everything. So you're going to offer them some money for their plot of land because they can't rebuild some of those houses. Not everybody, some of the rich areas, they have money. And I was like, God damn, what a cocksucker Gavin Newsom is. And if you support him and you don't support the recall, well, that speaks volume on your name, because he does need to be recalled. And we need better for California, And I'm gonna leave with that on that thought, and I hope you guys enjoy this special day. If you're conservative like we are, we celebrated. We had a steak dinner at home, obviously grilled, farm raised beef, local, from our farm, and we were just thankful that the last 4 years are behind us, and we can probably move forward as a country and be united once more again, and put our differences aside and grasp, for a better country, a brighter future for our kids. And, with that, I'll leave you guys and tell you guys thank you. Thank you for you guys, my viewers that watch my channel, my episodes. We're in January, it's a new year. I'll be creating more content. Like I said, I'll have some guests coming in for another episode or two. And then for me, I got to start getting ready for hunting season, even though it's 7 months away, but can never get too ready for that. I got skunked last year, no bucks. D-zone or A-zone, no bucks, just window shopping. So I'll be hurting this year for buck meat. I think I have some still left from 2023 or 2022. So just want to tell you guys thank you again, and stay tuned. Subscribe to the Farmers Podcast. Give me some feedback. I'm gonna have some new hats being made, so we'll have some new hats for raffle. And if you want to purchase a hat, just send me a DM, and they're not outrageous priced or nothing like that. So I want to tell you guys that whatever you're doing in life, I hope it's good and it's worth it for you guys. It's short. I've been telling people a long time. It's short life. We're only here for a minimum amount of time, and if you're lucky and you get to grow old and your kids are wanting to be around you, then you won in life. If your family is still close to you when you get old, then you're a millionaire. because there's people with money and they have no one unless they offer them money to be around them. So if your family's with you, you're already won. I'm gonna leave you guys with this song that I want to play for you guys. I don't own the rights, but I bought the song on Apple, so it's mine right now. Let's go, Trump. Let's get it. Fight, fight, fight.